Hello everybody, my name is William Thrift and this is my diversity video. Let's get started. I was raised in a lower class neighborhood in southern Georgia. My community growing up was mainly Caucasian. We did have some African American residents in our city, but mainly I grew up not in a diverse situation. When I was 25, I decided to move to Chicago, and I was working there as an audio engineer in a studio downtown. This for me was just an eye-opening experience. This is the first time I was the minority many times, and this gave me this worldly view. Suddenly I was around Polish and Romanian, all kinds of different cultures, and this really helped me expand my mind, really. And the one thing that me and my wife also did right after Chicago, we decided to travel around the U.S. for 2 years. We were able to live in places like North Carolina, Illinois, Arizona, Massachusetts, Wisconsin, and Maryland. And again, this travel, anytime you go and live in a new place, you get to see it for what it is, and you get to actually experience all these beautiful cultures. So travel, again, this is a theme I have in my life. I still continue to travel today and try to educate myself in all other cultures. Let's look at the outline. Today I'm going to talk about my fieldwork in observation 1 and 2, and then I'm going to wrap it up with a conclusion. For my observation 1, I decided to travel to the south side of Atlanta and immerse myself in an African American community. I visited a lady named Sandra. She was 58 years old and she was African American. And she really opened up to me about her struggles with racism, especially at her workplace. She is a nurse, and she was telling me about the time that she went to apply for a job, and it was in the paper, "Nurses out of school, please come, we'll hire you." And this was around 85. And she went to the job interview and she noticed the Caucasian ladies were being asked back, but they told her the job had already been filled. She said that was the first time she really noticed racism in a big way. She has said recently it has gotten better, but she said this was just a hard lesson to see, because she said the paper continued with the advertisement while she was still struggling to look for a job. And the south side of Atlanta always seems to get a bad rap, but it was a real beautiful place, very diverse. Even in Sandra's neighborhood, there's pockets of all kinds of diversity. In my interview with Sandy, she taught me to treat African American kids differently. Don't look at them and group them as the same. Their home life is very different, and they could come from many backgrounds. So don't just judge a book by its cover and lump them into one group. She told me that it was valuable for me to celebrate all different cultures. She also asked me to explore and immerse myself in the students I would be teaching's communities. She wanted me to volunteer. She said, continue going out, continue learning new things. You need to see for your own eyes where these kids live and how they live. It was a really eye-opening experience. I'm glad that I was able to do the field work. I found this quote from teachervision.com in their article, Strategies for Teaching Cultural Diverse Students. They say effective teachers of cultural diverse students acknowledge both individual and cultural differences enthusiastically and identify these differences in a positive manner. This quote really sums up what Sandy was telling me. You have to get out. You have to see it. You have to be a part of it. You need to see where these kids come from. The last quote is crucial. As educators, we need to get out. We need to get involved in the communities we teach. This is vital. Students are unique, and they come in many different cultures. You cannot just one size fits all your teaching strategy. You have to continue to educate yourselves. You should evolve. You should explore other cultures than your own. You got to make the classroom a thriving ethos for everyone. For my observation number 2, I decided to go work at my local food bank. I was able to interview the director and all the employees, and I observed the daily preparation of food and the financial services, how that helped homeless people. I had never visited a food bank before this, and I had a vision of what I thought that it looked like in my head. I assumed that it would be long lines of homeless people in tattered and dirty clothes. I thought it would be someone ladling out soup. Maybe I was very naive, and that was completely wrong. In this case, the food was already packaged in box kits, and it was very organized. The whole system was incredibly organized. It could feed tons and tons of people. The line of the homeless people outside was very hard to distinguish. Everyone was well dressed. It was mostly families. There was quite a bit of senior citizens as well. I realized that homelessness is complex. You can't look at it face on and see it. You have to get to know these people and your students in order to really see what's going on. Most of the people in line had jobs and were actively working. And it seemed like every story was, I had a healthcare bill that knocked me down. I just need help staying above the poverty line. I need help with rent. My car broke down. I'm a single mother working 2 jobs. It was very much like that. These people were trying, and it's just so fragile, that poverty line. This reminds me of a quote from ASCD.org. Theodora Shira wrote in her article, Student Homelessness, How to Recognize an Invisible Problem. She wrote that when families experience homelessness for the first time, they might have no idea where to turn for help. That is why this food bank and all these food banks are crucial resources that educators can use to help their students. Wrapping up my observation number 2, this food bank was the only food bank in my area. It was very difficult just to find. So just imagine if you're homeless looking for this place. Not only do they offer food, but they are a hub of resources. They connected people with jobs. They even gave financial assistance for a bill here or there, and they had budgeting classes. For educators, this is excellent. This is a place that you need to know and volunteer so that you can learn what homeless families go through. There are tons of resources for students, but there's rarely any for the parents. That's why it's crucial you know this. You've got to support the parents so that the child can have a stable home and a stable school. Knowing about these food banks will help you. It's a network. They were helping people with clothes, school backpacks. It really is vital that you learn about all of these options so you can use them in your toolkit. Before we get to the main conclusion, I'd like to sum it up with Rand Miller from his article, Doing Life in the Community Where You Teach. He states this. He says, being an educator is your entry point to engage with community members. As someone interested in knowing the community better in order to understand and educate their students. He's saying you have an end to these communities. You need to go be a part of them. That's what Sandra was saying. She was hammering home, you've got to immerse yourself. As educators, we need to immerse ourselves in the communities we teach. I keep saying this like it's a broken record, but it's very crucial. Representation matters on all sides. Don't assume anything. Get involved. See firsthand what life looks like for others. Teachers must continue to educate themselves in this evolving and dynamic world. Being stagnant, it's really not an option. Take an anthropology course. Take a survey in world history. Again, I'm going to hammer home that travel is crucial. Get out of your comfort zone. This class has really shown me I've got to get out. I've got to do more. I've got to go in these communities and see what does it look like for the students who I'm teaching. You've got to get out there and see it firsthand. Travel is very important. It'll open your mind. But as far as educators, we need to think world-centric. Thanks for listening to my presentation.